Oh my gosh, remember me? Okay, today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. Gunner, come say hi. Come here, buddy. In case, I don't know if any of you remember, but here's Gunner. We've got little Oliver Clark, and I'm here to check in. I know it's been, I think, like 8 months or so since my last check-in, and I wanted to update everybody on my healing journey and kind of explain why I was not sharing for so long. So when I had explant surgery, I know a lot of you who were following some of my videos know how sick I was getting leading up to explant surgery. And I had several doctors at Mayo Clinic that had really recommended against me not having my implants removed because I was having so many systemic struggles and health issues that they were concerned that putting my body through major surgery would be just too difficult for me to go through. And I got through surgery okay. Obviously, I did some posting after surgery and I was feeling pretty good. And then what I started to notice was as my body started to really embrace the detox process that happens after we get the implants removed and everything starts to need to shift, all the different systems, endocrine, autonomic nervous system, all these different systems of mine that were in a malfunctioning state, they have to start to shift. And in that process, I started to have some struggles. So I took a trip. I actually checked off a huge bucket list item, which I was so grateful to be well enough to do that, and went to Africa on safari last year. And when I got back from that trip, the trip itself I think was just too much. I wasn't quite ready for that, but I wasn't going to not go. So when I got back, I decided to just unplug for a while. I got off of social media. I wasn't doing any of this posting. I just needed to be away from everything for a while to really invite some deep healing. And truthfully, I'm so glad I did that because I have been really growing in my spiritual journey. My journey with God has been very, very deep. And He, I think, needed to just get me to kind of shut out the noise so that I could really go inward and do some work that needed to be done as far as like the depths of my soul. And so, physically I was having issues, but what I started to recognize was a lot of the physical struggles that I was having were due to my being very soul sick. And that comes from a life of trauma. So I was born into trauma as an infant. There was abuse and neglect, and then there were different things that happened throughout my childhood that were very traumatic. And so during my developmental years, my nervous system and my just whole way of being was being formed in a traumatic experience world, and that affects how you are formed and how you then integrate into growth and into life and just how you cope with life. And so I was, because of my struggles, basically not knowing how to cope well. I guess that's the best way to put it. So what I started recognizing on my healing journey after I had had explant surgery is I started to realize that it wasn't just the implants that had caused me a lot of health struggles and emotional struggles and just all the things that I've been through, which led me to the point where I, got so sick, but that there was a lot of mental baggage that was playing into my issues. So I am here to say that I just kind of want to give you an update as far as having had explant surgery. It was absolutely the best thing I have ever done in my life. I am so glad that I did it. I am still very much in the healing process. I just had my 1-year explant surgery anniversary in March, and to be honest with you, I still feel like there's a long way to go as far as me finding physical healing. The doctors having warned about me getting more sickly after surgery definitely has been my reality. My autoimmune diseases have gotten worse. I'm basically more symptomatic and having more struggles in my body than I was really almost having before surgery. I don't know if that's going to change. I don't know if the surgery was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, and that this is just going to be my new reality. I don't know. But I do know that what I'm having to do is invite a new lifestyle. I have very much had to, or am having, I'm not even there yet, but I am having to really let go of the concept of trying to get back what I once had or to be who I once was. That fast-paced, super energetic, go, go, go type of person is no longer my reality. I don't think it ever will be. Part of me is sad about that because I'm still not really sure about this new version of myself that's evolving. I think it's just because it feels really uncomfortable right now, but all I can say is what I do recognize is that go, 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 fast-paced person that I was could very much have been a reactive state of being based on my childhood and life traumas, and therefore they weren't necessarily serving me well anyway. They weren't really who I am. And so I'm kind of learning. I'm just learning who I am through this process. It's been incredible. And that's, again, why I think that, you know, everything leading up to explant and the insecurity and the life-altering mental aspect of having to let go of my breasts, which to me they defined who I was. They were so important to me. Having to let that go and recognizing that they aren't who I am and that is not what I am and what I look like is not who I am has been very eye-opening and a much needed soul adjustment. So I'm thrilled with what I've done. I embrace my new body. I'm learning to embrace my new lifestyle and slowing down. I'm having to find a new way of exercise. I used to love to jump around and get crazy, and I can do that, but very minimally now. I have to practice more exercise that doesn't stress the body like most exercise does, but instead I'm having to welcome the type of exercise like yoga or mindful movement, strength training, or different things like that welcome a more parasympathetic, calming version of exercise, still being able to get strong, but not taking the body to that level of stress because my nervous system is damaged. So what I know happened was leading up to surgery, I was go, 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 go. I kept pushing through. I kept not listening to my body. I was in fight or flight. I was in fight or flight from a life of trauma, which then led to just a fight or flight sense of being. And so my central nervous system, if you add the fight or flight that I was in, if you add the stress of life that we all live with, just the day in and day out, life is stressful. You add the fact that I am a personal trainer by trade, which means that exercise is a very integral part of my day and my life. You add the fact that I exercised in order to cope, like that was my therapy, so I would exercise pretty much to a fault. And then you add the fact that I actually chose to use exercise as a form of coping. I went from alcoholism, which is, addicted to alcohol, to exercise addiction to exercise. So another way to cope. basically what kept happening is stress, 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 stress. I was never doing the other side and welcoming the parasympathetic, the calming side, and I lived a life completely out of balance. And what happens when you do that for a period of time, I am living proof, it's called a nervous breakdown. And I know a lot of people hear nervous breakdown and they think of somebody that maybe goes crazy in their head and ends up in a mental institution and whatever. I mean, I guess that's what I've always thought a nervous breakdown meant. But after having been through what I went through, having dealt with doctors and therapists, having done my own research on the nervous system, I'm very educated now on just physiology and how the body works. I find it quite fascinating, actually. And so I like to know so that I can better help myself. But in that, I found that I had a nervous breakdown. My nervous system basically just quit. It shut down, and it got to the point where I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't be on my phone. I couldn't do anything that would stimulate me in any way because my nervous system couldn't take any stimulation. I could like sit and be still. I could sleep. I could stare into space. That was about the extent of it. If I did anything more than that, my nervous system was just, it couldn't take it. So I am still not well from that. My nervous system is still not okay. I have, thank goodness I have Oliver Clark, my therapy dog, who goes with me just about everywhere. I have to be very mindful of my body. I have to pay attention. Though I can go throughout the day and I will notice that my whole nervous system is starting to do its thing and spin out of control, and then I have to practice some different breathing techniques. There's different things I have to do, but I have a nervous system that kind of has taken on a life of its own. I do believe it's trying to repair itself, but I do also know that when I worked with the integrative medicine doctor at Mayo Clinic, he had mentioned to me that when people live a life out of balance, and you know, especially people that live with trauma and already have a nervous system that is in that fight or flight because of trauma, you can be resilient and you can bounce back, and we live in a healing body. But at the same time, if we don't learn to find balance, we can sometimes break the body beyond what it can repair, especially when it comes to the nervous system. And I'm not sure if that's what has happened to me. I'm not wanting to live in the future. I'm really learning how to just be present with what is today and embracing each day as it comes. Every day is very different. Some days I feel relaxed and other days I'm not, and there's nothing in my world that can explain one or the other. So it is a learning curve still, but with all of that, I just, I recognized that it wasn't just my boobs. That was the catalyst to open the door to help me recognize the healing that needed to be done on so many levels, but that wasn't what was causing all my issues. There were a lot of different things in my life that were causing my issues. So getting my breasts out was not my oh yay, I'm fixed, I'm all back to what I was. That was not my reality. That has been the reality for a lot of women. They get them out and immediately have healing, and that is wonderful. That is not my reality, and I'm okay with that, honestly, because I have a lot of other stuff, and I do hope that other women, when they look at their situation and do choose explant surgery, and then maybe they're sickly after and they don't understand why, that they can take a hard look at their life, like look at their past, or even how they process life experiences. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have been abused or been raped or been in a major accident or had some what we would consider horrific trauma. You don't have to have that type of trauma to have a body that overreacts or reacts in a way that is hurtful to itself from things that happen in life. You could lose your job. You could, be upset with your children. You could be, in a marriage that's a little unsettling, whatever. But you may internalize that in such a way that your body doesn't know how to recover from that. And so it remains in this constant state of stress, and it doesn't know how to find that balance within itself. So that's kind of the message that I want to get out to people regarding what I've learned on my journey, so that if anybody is having a similar situation, that you may not necessarily bounce back from all of this, but that means that that's the prime opportunity for you to look at your life and look at how you handle things. Look at just take a hard look at yourself. That's what I've had to do and continue to do every day. And with that, I'll just briefly share before I wrap things up what I've had to do in order to at least welcome a healthier, I guess, state of being. Let me just fix my phone. Sorry about that. So I am embracing and building a consistent meditation practice. Meditation is literally saving me from myself and from my struggles. And so that has been something that I am very, very grateful for. I have taken a mindfulness-based stress reduction course at UCSD here in California. That was amazing, and so I am practicing mindfulness in my life. I am sharing that with friends, family, clients. So that has become very much a part of who I am. I use mindfulness now in my workout programs with my clients, helping them to be better involved with the sensations in their bodies, building a healthy relationship with their bodies so that they can understand and recognize when their body is telling them something. Because my body was telling me something for a really long time and I didn't acknowledge it. And for me, I think I was running from it. I have always lived, my whole life, I have lived in self-loathing and self-punishment and self-hatred from my childhood abuse. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. And with that, when you have that self-hatred, you don't have a relationship with your body. You don't have a relationship with yourself because you hate yourself. You don't want to be there. And so I'm having to really build this relationship with self, compassion and love for myself that I've never had. And honestly, if I wouldn't have had my breast taken out and had to go through this experience, I wouldn't have had to do this. And I would have continued to just spin out of control. And I don't know where my life would have gone. I would have, one coping mechanism after another until I probably would have ended up dead. Because I kept trying to run from my problems instead of face it. I kept trying to run from myself instead of build a healthy relationship with myself. So that's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm really focused on. I literally have redesigned my entire career. My career was basically personal training and group training, and that's what I did. And now I've rebuilt a whole website that hopefully will go live maybe next week. But now I'm really stressing overall health and wellness of body, mind, soul, and spirit, all of those four things, and finding balance in all four of those in order to live well in our whole being. And I was not that. I was so unbalanced, and that's what got me to the point where I had a nervous breakdown and I broke my body and I broke my mind. And now I'm having to build myself back up, and it's happening and it's totally possible. But what I want to try and do is help people to not get there, because some people may not come back from it. There are people that do end up in a mental institution or they end up dead. And if I can help others by at least sharing my journey and what is working for me and what I have recognized happened to me, then I can make something good come out of something that was pretty horrific. And I feel like that's the duty of all of us, honestly. I feel like that we are meant to take the struggles that we have and share them with the world so that other people can not feel so alone, and so that they can feel, so they can find the courage to do it for themselves. Everybody's journey is going to be different. I'm not expecting anybody to do what I do and that it's going to work for them, but they will hopefully find their way for what works for them. And they'll at least say, well, Ginny did it, and if she did it, I can certainly do it. So I'm here to tell you, you can. And that your boobs aren't everything, and that life and its ups and downs, and completely, I lost my career. I had to let go of everything that I knew about myself and my active life and everything. And I had to, I'm welcoming a whole new way of being, and I'm going to learn from that and grow from that and then move forward. So I just want to thank everybody that has continued to follow and that you've been patient while I was on hiatus for a while. What I am now doing is I've got this G-Force I don't want to say there's a group of us that have this G-Force closed group in Facebook that is all about finding balance and spreading positivity and love and shining our light into the world, and, you know, just figuring ourselves out, body, mind, soul, and spirit, and helping each other in that with food and exercise and spiritual awareness, and, you know, just things that really fuel our soul. And so anyway, if anybody wants to be a part of that, please reach out, because I would love to invite you to join our group. It is a closed group, but we love to have new members. It's growing all the time. I will be posting in the YouTube channel the videos, the live videos that I've been posting in the G-Force group during this shut-in time with the coronavirus. I kind of came out of hiatus during this virus because I wanted to make sure that others didn't feel so isolated, and that, you know, I offered up some workouts and some, you know, just check-ins and some health tips, and just, you know, wanting to put a face in to kind of remind people to just keep moving and, you know, keep your hopes up, and we're going to be okay. And so I'll share those videos. I'll be uploading those videos into YouTube as well. And I don't know. I mean, I think the most important thing that I really want to share is, you know, we are all broken in some way, but it is through that shattered glass that the light of our true authentic self can shine through. And it's through that where we are able to learn and we are able to grow. And for me, that's where I have gotten really connected with God. That's where I feel God inside of me. And with that better relationship and deeper relationship with God, I'm finally learning to love myself. And I don't think, well, I know if I wouldn't have really let him in and chosen to prioritize being grateful for everything that I have and all that he has done for me in my life, I just don't think I would have been open to this healing. I really believe that. So I now want to share my faith with others, and just, you know, that's where I'm finding healing. That is the ultimate. You know, I can say meditation, I can say all these different things, but when I meditate, it's what draws me inside of myself. And when I go inside of myself, that's where God is. And so I do firmly believe that all of us are an extension of the divine. We are an extension of our Creator. And until we allow ourselves to go inward and actually tune into that, we are lost. So I'm going to spend the rest of my life calling to him and, you know, allowing him to find me so that I can find myself, and then hopefully being able to help others find the courage to go within themselves and find their own healing, because it's in there for every single one of us. So I know this has been a long one, but it's been a long time since I've checked in. So I probably won't be checking in a lot with these type of videos, but I will be sharing health and wellness. I will be posting the stuff that I post through G-Force. And like I said, if anybody wants to join us, we would love to have you. I hope that you guys are shining your light and spreading your love into the world. That's why we're here, and that's what I'm always going to do for all of you. Thank you for following me. I love you guys, and be well.